All right, so now we're in Psalm 10, and this is just a great psalm that we can all relate to. David starts out by just saying, God, where are you? This world is so broken. And then he goes from that attitude of just despair because of a broken world to confidence in a God that will eventually make all things right. So let's check it out. It starts out in verse 1. Why do you stand afar off, O Lord? Why do you hide in times of trouble? Right? We feel that way sometimes, don't we? Like, why is God letting this happen? The wicked in his pride persecutes the poor. Let them be caught in the plots which they have devised. For the wicked boast of his heart's desire. He blesses the greedy and renounces the Lord. The wicked in his proud countenance does not seek God. God is in none of his thoughts. And we see that in verse 3 that, he blesses the greedy and renounces the Lord. So many evil people do that. And we've seen so much corruption come out of Hollywood, and we know there's so much government corruption. Gosh, wherever there's money and power, there's corruption, isn't there? It's just very difficult for us, all of us broken people, we all are at different stages of health and brokenness, but it's very easy for people to just become something awful with power and money, right? Money and power really shows who somebody is. And in verse 4, when it says, the wicked in his proud countenance does not seek God, God is in none of his thoughts, we've got to understand that the core and the root of atheism is pride, right? I know a lot of people don't want to say that. They want to say that they've been hurt by the church, or they just don't think it's logical. But the core of atheism, or the root of atheism, is pride. Verse 5, it says, his ways are always prospering. Your judgments are far above, out of his sight. As for all of his enemies, he sneers at them. So many wicked people are prospering and just not concerned about their enemies. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved. I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is trouble and iniquity. He sits in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places he murders the innocent. His eyes are secretly fixed on the helpless. He lies in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor when he draws him into his net. Gosh, that just makes me think of like human trafficking, and it's just a horrible thing that goes on in the world, and it goes on in so many different ways, whether it be through racist motivation or sexism or just greed, where people take advantage of other people. So he crouches, he lies low, still talking about evil people, that the helpless may fall by his strength. He has said in his heart, God has forgotten. He hides his face. He will never see. So many evil people just don't think God sees it or will ever judge them for what they do. Verse 12, arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand. Do not forget the humble. Why do the wicked renounce God? He has said in his heart, you will not require an account. Just saying again, they're not expecting judgment. So 14 through 18 is where we get some good news. But you have said, for you observe trouble and grief to repay it by your hand. Isn't that beautiful? Let me read that again. God observes trouble and grief, and he will repay it. God sees every evil injustice in this world, and he will repay it. No one will get away with anything. Isn't that comforting? The helpless commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and the evil man. Seek out his wickedness until you find none. That's going to be an aspect of hell. Hell is just going to be a place where people can't hurt others anymore. And it even says that in the last verse. Verse 16, the Lord is king forever and ever. The nations have perished out of his land. Lord, you have heard the desire of the humble. You will prepare their heart. You will cause your ear to hear, to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may oppress no more. And that's what heaven's going to be like, this new earth, this new heaven and new earth, where God reigns, and people will no longer cause any pain. If people don't want to submit to God, they don't have to go to the new heaven and the new earth. They can go to hell, but they're going to be in isolation in hell, where they can no longer hurt anyone else. And those of us who want to do things God's way, and we don't like the sinfulness that's in us, we're going to get to go to the new heaven and the new earth, and we'll be finally free from this unrenewed mind and the sin nature that we had, and we will be good to each other forever. Isn't that beautiful? So just encourage yourself today that God sees all the injustice in the world. God will repay it. God will make it so that there is no more pain anymore. And God will rule forever. We're going to look back when we're in the new heaven and the new earth with Jesus ruling forever. And we're going to just be like, man, human history was so small and so short. right? Right now it seems so big, right? It seems like it's a long time that man has been able to just hurt each other and corrupt this world. But when we get to heaven, we're going to realize that human history and the brokenness really didn't last that long.